I know today we also wanted to talk a little bit about middle motherhood.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, for those listening, what is middle motherhood?
Well, everyone loves to talk about like pregnancy and postpartum, and those are both very, very interesting, volatile, transformative times. But then you get past that portion, even preschool, toddlerhood, preschool, and then you have elementary age kids, elementary school age kids, and middle school kids. And it's kind of like no one talks about you anymore. No one's targeting you anymore in an ad or trying to come up from your point of view. And we really want mothers to see themselves in what we do. And there's no books for you anymore. No one's writing from your point of view. There's like nothing. You're just in this abyss, this empty place. You're just someone, and no one cares what you think. And there's no group for you, and there's no support system for you. But oh my God, it is a fucking hard time to be a mom. And it's really lonely. And your kids are going through things that are now unpostable. You can't post about some of the stuff they're going through on Facebook because it's super embarrassing for
Mhm.
them. And sometimes, like, your partner isn't really into having family business posted about. These are the ages where children's identities are really coming forward. They're
Mhm.
discovering their gender identities even more. Their learning styles are becoming more apparent. Third grade, second, third grade, you discover children have more reading disabilities or are maybe on the spectrum, can't have more learning disabilities. And people are ashamed of so many of these things and won't talk about them.
Mhm.
And, I have one of each. So I have a kid who's non-binary, and I have a kid with learning disabilities, and then no one talks about either of those topics unless I bring them up first. And if I'm talking about an IEP or some sort of a support class that my older son has, that's when five parents in the vicinity will be like, "Wait, he has an IEP? Mine does too. Your kid has it? Wait, where did they get speech therapy? What did they do? OT?" And I'm like, they're like, "I haven't told anybody this because I just don't really know who to talk to." And so there's this whole new world of stuff. It would be the equivalent of no one ever talking about how to swaddle,
Mm.
or
Mhm.
like, what pediatrician do you go to?
Right.
Like, common things that children deal with, but just silenced in this middleness.
Mhm.
And I'm sure this applies to high school times 10,000, but this like elementary middle school phase is just like everything's great. We love the teacher, or the teacher's a dud, but like about your own kid, no one's talking about it. And it is, the older the kid, the bigger the problems.
Mm.
And middle motherhood is less about the physicality of motherhood. When you're a young mother, or when your children are young, and there's so much of the pushing, carrying, changing, holding, all of that. And this is, you have body autonomy. No one's really touching you, but the emotional and mental load that you're carrying is enough to just weigh you down.
Mm.
No one needs to touch you to make you move because there's just so much on your mind.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's how I would describe it.
No, I mean, you bring up such good points because it's like there is so much. I mean, especially now, like I feel like my parents' generation, there wasn't, even like the postpartum talk or fourth trimester talk. But even now, like, yeah, you don't really see the support. You kind of think like, oh, once a mom's kids are in school, like she's got this, like they're good. And there's not really like a support out there. They kind of just assume, oh, they got past the baby stage, so their kids are, good. But every stage brings on new challenges and new learning opportunities, essentially.
And
Yeah.
also new joys, like
Mhm.
really wonderful joys. And that's another thing I really want mothers to know, is that I hear a lot of pining for the early days, or or guilt about having missed something from, oh, I feel like I wasn't present enough when they were a baby, and I feel so guilty about not being there. And I feel sad for myself about what I missed. And now they're getting older, and all that time is gone, and I'll never get it back, period. But then what I want to say is, yes, that might be true, but you have no idea how much is wonderful stuff is waiting for you on the other side of three, you
Mhm.
know, because a 7-year-old is so much fun.
Mhm.
Like they tell you stuff. They're like little gossipers. They can tell you all about what's happening at school. You have like a buddy to hang out with who's going to play stuff maybe you want to actually play, you know? And it's just, and then when you get to 10, then you're like, we're going to talk about the news. You care about politics. Like you are now at at an age where you have a deeper sense of emotional relation. It's watching a creature turn into more of a human that you want to hang out with,
Mhm.
and it's so much fun. Like you go from having a fun doll to play with to having a person that you can't wait to go out to dinner with, you
Mhm.
know? And I think we need to stress more about all the great stuff that's ahead.